Hi, Jim Shaw here from Crystal Group. Thought we'd take a moment and just speak a little bit about the motherboards that we use, the variety of motherboards, and what we're kind of looking for, and then what we do to them. And so I thought this would be just an educational thing for those people in the industry that are looking to figure out how Crystal Group selects motherboards. And the first thing that we're really kind of looking for is a manufacturer that is going to be around, that maintains their SKUs over a significant period of time, and generally 5 to 7 years, as well as high volume production. We need high volume production because high volume production generally requires people to pay attention to defects to maximize earnings and profit on the board. And so what that means to us is we get a failure-free product when we're looking for those kinds of manufacturers. So we'll use a couple of different manufacturers. We're just displaying one manufacturer here today, but in general we're using about 3 different manufacturers for motherboards. And you know, speaking of motherboards and SKUs, one of the things that you'll notice here is there are all different kinds of sizes and shapes of motherboards. And why is that? It's really depends on what you want to try to do with that motherboard, and that's why you would pick one motherboard over another. This is an example right here of just a board that is loaded with memory and has an interface right here for a PCIe extender that you can run just a boatload of GPUs on. And so these two actually go together, and what we'll do is we'll put NVIDIA A100s or H100s into these slots. Many times something like this would require liquid cooling to keep it in a temperature range where you can operate at 50 to 55 C. And so this is the kind of thing that we would start with. There's some things that we're always kind of looking for when we look for motherboards, and one of those is the position or orientation of the DIMM slots should always be with the airflow, never against the airflow. The other thing is, you know, we're looking for the mounting points to make sure that the supplier didn't skimp, if you will, in terms of the mounting points, because that has a fairly significant impact on vibration. So this is a proprietary motherboard and PCIe extender, and so you can see it fills pretty much the full width of the chassis. And then over here you can see this is a slightly different model, and this is actually what we would use in a twin application. And so you can see again, DIMMs are going in the right direction. We have one of our proprietary patented DIMM retention clips in here. We'll do staking, conformal coating, those kinds of things on the boards so that we can have the system operate in that mill standard environment that you're looking for. So that's a twin, and so you can pack 2 of those for 2 independent boards, each with 2 nodes on it for the CPUs. You know, here's another proprietary form factor, slightly different, but this one's, you can see the conformal coating on this particular board, and so this has gone through that process of adding a conformal coating material to both sides of the board for the purposes of humidity protection. A lot of times we end up having to create custom risers here so that we can pull power off or make some special interfaces that are required. So that's something that's all within the purview of the engineering department up here at Crystal Group. This is an extended ATX form factor, and so these are generally about 12 by 13 inches, and so what you see here is kind of the standard layout for the CPUs and the slots. Here's another proprietary DIMM retention approach where we can actually screw the DIMMs down to the board, so that really prevents any kind of dislodging or intermediate connections within the DIMM to the motherboard. So you see, you don't absolutely have to go with a VPX type of a design. There are things that you can do to ruggedize standard hardware so that it meets those mill standard performances. or performance levels. So that's an extended ATX. This is just an ATX board, and those are generally about 10 or 9.6 by 12 inches. Again, you can see the orientation of the DIMM slots. As you start moving into these smaller boards, you start to see that the slot count changes, as well as the slot type, and it's really in how much you want to try to get into, how much content you want to get into that space. So as we get smaller and smaller, the boards do less and less, and so that's sort of one of the trades that you have to make. You're always looking for the smallest form factor that does the job, and so we continue to have this wide variety of SKUs that we choose from so that we can meet the exact customer's demand. So this is a ATX, as we said. This is a micro ATX, so slightly smaller, 9.7 by 9.7. And so you can see, again, slot count is starting to go down, and we're starting to see fewer options on the board. As you go over here, you can start to see a mini ITX. So this is relatively small, and again, what's happening is it's becoming more specific. So as you travel from the generic, large, general purpose GPU type servers down into these smaller form factors, you can see that the options for what it can do actually change. Next to it is a cell phone that we're currently working with some of the cell phone style compute packages, as well as this is a SMARC over here. So you can see it's a pretty wide range of basically options for motherboard selection as we go through and try to design the exact thing that the customer needs without being too big. Up here you can see another one of the proprietary form factors from one of our suppliers, and this one happens to have the ability to put cards in a horizontal orientation. So just another option that we kind of go through when we're trying to find a motherboard that fits the need that we have for our customers. And so this is just, and we're going to do this type of a presentation here for switches and for other things. So this is kind of our engineering wall where we talk about here's the technology we're focusing on for the month. And so more to come. I hope you found this useful, and leave us some comments on the website if you can. Thanks.